Have you been scoped?
And if you listen to the lyrics, it's about us, really, you know?
Well, so far you got to meet the band and how they formed. But when it goes into songwriting, and there's one song that they play that they wrote on their own, that's totally different than any other. But the process of making music is still the same. What does it take to write a song? Let's face it, it's easy to cover a song because it's already successful and proven.
I like writers more than I like artists. Yeah, like the whole American Idol thing I don't understand. Because I'd rather hear somebody that created stuff. Like the Beatles are probably, without a doubt my favorite band ever. But Bob Dylan's right there because he's a writer. People do Bob Dylan songs way better than he could ever do them. You hear like All Along the Watchtower, or you hear Mr. Tambourine Man by the Byrds, you go, that's a good song. You hear by Dylan, you go, that's terrible. Mm-hmm. But the essence of the song is there. And I always love people. But if I hear somebody do a cover of a song, I always try to go back and hear what the original was, because I want to know what the artist, when he wrote it, was saying. I love art. I love writers.
That intrigue inspires Jack and Eric to collaborate on their own original music.
Jack and I do all the writing, and then we bring the finished product to the band. They kind of put their stamp on it. All the guitar parts, all the melodies, the lyrics, vocals are done.
The rest of the group seems okay with the arrangement because, like Eric says, they put their own staple into the song and how it will eventually sound. But it's not a slam dunk by any means, but the commitment of the band sees it through.
We have a groove in mind that TJ and Bird will kind of, we'll try to explain to them, this is how we want the rhythm of the song to be as far as, pertaining to the drums and the bass. And we bang it out and we mess around with it until it feels right. Jack and I have a very specific idea of the way we want things to sound in our head. And it takes a while, but sometimes it's right away. And we go in and we're like, wow, that was easy. And other times it's weeks or months and we just cannot get it to feel the way we want it to feel. And eventually it does, and it's a lot of work. But Jack and I guess, being the songwriters, we kind of don't really want to compromise the vision that we have.
In 2.5 years this band has been together, they have wrote over 30 pieces of music, 12 of which is ready for the next step, for the band to work on the final product. Then, if it's good enough, they will enter it in their act and hopefully sell a CD with their music. But once again, the original band scene is not the easiest way to break into the business.
Companies don't come to Philly that much because I've even heard them say that Philly bands don't have any good original music. And even though I dispute that, but
however, that opinion doesn't deter the band because of the computer age.
There's a way. I mean, because you don't need music. You don't necessarily need record companies anymore to do. Because especially with satellite radio and all these kind of things going on, the internet and all that, you don't necessarily need them to get your music out there. Now, you might need them at some point to distribute it for you, but I mean, to get your music out there, you don't necessarily need them, which is good for I think good for the industry, even though some people don't think so.
At this point, the band continues their regular routine, but just this past year or so, they started playing one of their own songs, and it's been a great feat in the history of the band because for the first time, they're really putting themselves out completely. The band feels it's time because of the success they have achieved.
We work for everything that we got, and we're going to keep working and keep fighting until we reach, you know, where we want to take this.
Most of the fans agree and say it's a good, catchy little tune, but to the band, the irony is quite amusing.
It's like a joke song. It's like a joke that we knew would be a good party song that people would get into, and if you listen to the lyrics, it's about us, really, you know.
The strange thing about it is it's not even their style of music.
It would definitely be rock, but it would fall in, I think, to that same. Not that it sounds like these artists, but it would fall into, I think, that genre of like Pete Yorn and David Gray, even like Coldplay, even Counting Crows. I remember Sister Hazel from the late '90s. Just that, I think it has that type of a vibe, or people that are into those artists, I think our music would appeal to them, like Jack Johnson and Ben Harper, people like that.
Add to the irony, the song titled Afterparty happened completely by accident. Jack and Eric were playing an acoustic show when they decided to play the song they made up in a car ride that was completely just trying to make the other one laugh.
Like a Smash Mouth or some kind of party band.
So Jack came up with this riff one night. We were writing songs, and he came up with this real kind of simple riff, and it was really catchy. And we just started joking around, like throwing out lines off the top of our head. And this chorus kept coming up, you know, we're going to the after party, and it was really catchy. And he's like, let's finish this. We wrote the whole song in 10 minutes, I swear, beginning to end. You know, verse, choruses, bridge, everything was done in 10, 15 minutes. And we were just writing lines down, whatever came off the top of our head, and it was just this big joke. And we played it that night when we went out. I taped the words that we wrote down to my mic stand, and we had an acoustic show, just Jack and I, and we played it, and people went nuts. And we're like, oh my God, you know, maybe we have something here. And we played it, everybody kept requesting it at our acoustic shows. Then when the whole band would play, they were requesting it at the band, and the rest of the guys in the band were going, what is After Party? Jack and I were like, it's a stupid song we wrote, you know, and people loved it. So they're like, let us hear it. And then I remember TJ going, oh my gosh, this is great. So
but the story it tells is all fact.
I lived in a commercial building that was basically a storefront property, and I lived on the second floor. And the first floor used to be kind of like an office space, and then there was a basement that we had practiced in for years. It was kind of our studio, rehearsal space. We'd write, record, have band practice down there. And it got to a point where somebody bought the building, and the landlord I had known forever that bought the building. And I said, what's going on with the first floor? Are you going to use it for anything? He said, no. He said, you can kind of do whatever you want down there. And there was nothing down there, a couple of couches. So when the new lineup in the band came, we wanted to make as many friends as possible. So whenever we played local, we'd have these huge after parties at my house. I mean, it'd be like, I'd walk in, and one of my friends would take my keys and go open up the door, because I wouldn't get out of the club till like 2:45 in the morning. And I'd maybe get to my house between 3 and 3:15, sometimes 3:30, and there was like 300 people in my house. It was crazy. playing beer pong and just people, with congas and acoustic guitars, rocking out, and it was a good time. Just as quickly as he and I wrote it, the band jammed on it for about an hour before we went out to play a show one night, and we played it that night, and sure enough, it went over just as big. And we never really knew what to do with it, because it's not like anything else we write,
Would it be something that would be put in an album, or something that would just be like focal?
We've joked about putting it as a hidden track, or even if, somebody else wanted to, buy the song off of us, for the right price, we'd gladly sell it. But I don't know, at the same time, it'd be tough to give something like that away. I mean, maybe we never make it on the type of music we're really proud of writing, and weeks after party to get us out there, I'm sure we'd do it.
That concludes this edition of Under the Scope. We hope you enjoyed it. From everyone at Under the Scope, thanks for watching, and close it.